There is a lie you were raised on, that wealth is earned in public. It is not. It is transferred in silence, and only the fools fight for it in daylight. Old money does not teach its children to work hard. It teaches them to disappear. The poor are taught to be seen, to raise their hand, to ask for the raise, to post the promotion. The rich are taught the opposite. Never let the machine see your hunger. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this 500 years before your parents told you to follow your passion. He watched Florence devour men who wore their ambition like a badge. He watched the Medici, by contrast, wear humility like armor while they strangled every rival banking house in the city. Machiavelli did not admire virtue. He admired survival. And survival, he wrote, belongs to the man who appears harmless while he is the most dangerous thing in the room. That is the thesis. Old money never writes down its real rules. It writes down the ones that keep you compliant. Tonight, we write down the ones it kept for itself. Florence, early 16th century. The Medici did not seize the city with armies. They seized it with debt. They loaned money to the merchants who ran the guilds, then loaned money to the priests who ran the confessionals, then loaned money to the mercenaries who ran the streets. By the time anyone noticed a single family owned the city's obligations, it was too late to organize a resistance, because resistance required capital, and capital required the Medici. Machiavelli watched this from inside the Florentine government, as a diplomat who negotiated with princes and watched them lie to each other's faces with total composure. He did not write The Prince as a fantasy. He wrote it as a field report. Look closer at the mechanism, because it is the same mechanism operating today. Cosimo de' Medici did not hold public office for most of his life. He held something more durable: obligation. He structured the Medici Bank as a network of semi-independent branches across Rome, Venice, Geneva, London, and Bruges, each one legally distinct, each one shielding the others from a single point of collapse. If the Bruges branch made a catastrophic loan, Florence did not fall with it. This is the exact logic behind a modern holding company structure. Isolate the risk, protect the core, let the periphery absorb the damage. The Medici also mastered something almost nobody discusses. They controlled the information before they controlled the money. Their banking network doubled as an intelligence network. A courier moving funds between cities was also moving news: who was insolvent, who was desperate, who was about to be excommunicated, and therefore about to become very easy to acquire. By the time a rival family understood they were vulnerable, the Medici had already priced it in. 3 generations later, the Rothschild family ran an almost identical playbook across a continent, using private courier networks to receive news of Waterloo before the London markets did, and positioning capital accordingly before the official word arrived. This is not coincidence. It is a repeating pattern. The family that controls information velocity controls the market's next move, regardless of century. Machiavelli's central discovery generalizes past Florence entirely. The public performs morality, but the elite privately operate on leverage, timing, and the manufactured appearance of goodwill. The modern equivalent is not a duchy. It is a family office. It is a trust structured across 3 jurisdictions, each one chosen for a specific legal advantage: one for tax treatment, one for privacy law, one for asset protection from litigation. It is a foundation that donates 5% publicly, while the other 95% compounds untouched, unseen, unquestioned, growing precisely because it is never disturbed by scrutiny. The Medici did not abolish the appearance of charity. They perfected it. Cosimo personally funded churches, libraries, and public works, not from piety alone, but because a reputation for generosity is the cheapest insurance a fortune can buy. A city that sees your name on a cathedral is slower to storm your palace. Old money still runs this exact program. Public generosity, private extraction. The two are not contradictions. They are the same machine. running on two different frequencies at once, and the frequency you're allowed to hear is the one that keeps you calm. Law 1. Concealment is not dishonesty, it is architecture. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright, and must be able to become the opposite in an instant, without ever letting the mask slip in front of an audience. Old money teaches its children this before they teach them arithmetic. You will never hear a Rockefeller heir announce a hostile acquisition at a dinner party. You will never see a family's real net worth on a single document, in a single country, under a single name. The naive believe transparency is a virtue that gets rewarded. The elite know transparency is a liability that gets exploited. Every dollar you can see is a dollar someone can tax, sue, envy, or take. The first brutal law is simple. What is hidden cannot be hunted. But concealment alone is not enough, because a fortune that only hides is a fortune that never grows. Which brings us to the second law, and this is where most people, even the disciplined ones, get filtered out permanently. Law 2, the transactional pivot. Every relationship old money maintains exists on a ledger, even the ones that look like friendship. Machiavelli was explicit about this. He warned that a prince who is loved but not feared will be abandoned the moment loyalty becomes inconvenient. But a prince who is feared and useful will be tolerated even by his enemies. Old money does not build friendships. It builds mutual dependencies. The country club membership is not about golf. It is about proximity to men who can move capital with one phone call. The board seat is not about governance expertise. It is about a standing invitation into the room where the next acquisition is discussed before it is announced. The marriage between two families is not about love, whatever the toast says. It is about consolidating two balance sheets under one bloodline before a third family can intervene. The same way medieval dynasties married off children to prevent war between neighboring estates. Even philanthropic boards operate this way. A seat is traded for access, and access is traded for capital, and nobody involved would ever describe it in those terms out loud. The emotional lower class asks, "Do they like me?" The strategic elite asks, "What do they need, and can I be the only source of it?" That single reframe, from likability to necessity, is the difference between a man who gets invited to the room and a man who owns it. But even necessity has a shelf life. The moment you are no longer the only source, the relationship dissolves without ceremony, because it was never sentimental to begin with, which is why the third law exists, and it is the coldest one of all. Law 3, the cold execution. Machiavelli's most quoted, least understood line is this: "Injuries ought to be done all at once, so that being tasted less, they offend less." Old money applies this to everything: layoffs, divestitures, the quiet removal of a family member from a will, the sudden liquidation of a position before the public catches on. Consider how a family office unwinds a failing investment, not with a public statement, not with a farewell interview, but with a single signature, transferring the stake to a shell entity weeks before the collapse becomes common knowledge. By the time the market understands what happened, the family's name is already 3 transactions removed from the wreckage, and the loss lands on whoever bought their exit. The naive drag out difficult decisions because they crave the emotional closure of a long goodbye. They negotiate with a failing business partner for months, hoping a conversation will fix what only a signature can fix. The elite understand that hesitation is the single most expensive habit in finance. A position held too long out of loyalty is a position that bleeds you slowly while you tell yourself you're being loyal. A partner kept too long out of guilt is a partner who eventually turns on you, because guilt is not a foundation, it's a countdown. Old money teaches its heirs to cut immediately, cleanly, and without a public explanation, because the explanation is what invites the counterattack. Execute first, explain never, or explain only after it no longer matters. That is the third law, and it is the one that separates families who last 3 generations from families who last 3 centuries. Here is your warning, and it is not rhetorical. If you keep operating in daylight, announcing your plans, explaining your motives, seeking permission from people who have no stake in your outcome, you will remain legible. And what is legible is manageable. What is manageable is, eventually, owned. The families who built dynasties did not do it by being liked. They did it by being unreadable, useful, and swift, in that exact order. Machiavelli did not write The Prince to make men crueler. He wrote it because he watched gentle, transparent, well-meaning men lose everything to those who understood the game had different rules the moment real money was on the table. He said it plainly, and it has outlived every empire that ignored it. It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Old money never writes that down for you. Now